Oh my god, guys. Brett Cooper has turned into a dating coach. Dude. This is fucking crazy. She put out a video 3 days ago called How to Meet Someone Without a Dating App, and the thumbnail is a sign that says friend zone.
Welcome back to the comments.
This is a very made for 15-year-olds video. Like, when people are using friend zone in the thumbnail of their videos, that is such a good marker for what they know the average age of their viewers and target audiences. Who the fuck? She's only had one relationship. I'm pretty sure she's like 22 years old. Like younger than me. I know that for a fact. Just got married to her first ever partner she's been in a relationship with, I believe. It is hilarious that she is giving dating advice, but I guess she's giving that dating advice to teenagers, so she has more life experience than them, I suppose.
Welcome back to the comments section. I'm Brett Cooper. So obviously, I think we all know this, but the dating landscape right now is tough. It is barren, it is confusing, it's complicated. Women don't know what they want from men. Men are nervous to approach women. It's just a hot mess. Men and women are more
was that clip relevant?
divided than ever, which does not help the situation. People are also just more politically divided than ever, which makes sifting through people and their values even more difficult. It truly is.
Well, the reason why men and women in particular are more politically divided than ever is for two reasons. And they are both stats that are indisputable. And you can Google them right now if you want to. I am too lazy. But you can literally fact check me on this. Women in America are getting exponentially more progressive, especially on particular wedge issues, notably abortion, IVF, like Plan B, contraception, issues like that. Men are at a much lower rate becoming more conservative on those issues. Meanwhile, on both sides of that issue, you've got the other statistic. Women are at a very fast rate, almost as fast of a rate as they are moving, like, to the left, are refusing to have sex with or be in a relationship with men who do not agree with them on these wedge issues. And it's completely understandable why. So, for example, most women, especially younger women, are pro-abortion. And if a guy that they've met who is perfect in every way is not in favor of abortion rights, that alone is a deal breaker for most women, especially younger women. And yeah, of course it should be. What if you get pregnant and now the guy is going to try to make it a problem to get an abortion? Like, he doesn't see you as a person. He sees your body as an oven for, like, popping out a baby, you know? Like, that is an immediately disqualifying factor, of course, you know? And so there's this big schism right now where men are getting marginally more conservative on these issues, while women are getting substantially more progressive on these issues. And not just that, but they are not willing to fuck the dudes who aren't, like, following them to this side of the issue. So the fact is, this is going to be a self-fulfilling, like, prophecy here. You know, it's going to be a self-solving problem, I should say. Either these guys are going to amend their politics, or at least pretend to get pussy and have relationships, or they're going to be rizless, pussyless, bitchless, lonely, and miserable. And they are going to be fighting over an increasingly shrinking portion of the female population that is willing to give the time of day to a guy who does not consider her a human being.
Is a mess, and I empathize for all of you that are dealing with this. And this is why so many of my comments are people asking how they can meet friends, romantic partners who share their values, because, again, it is tough out there.
If you're so obsessed with her, why don't you just ask her out?
Oh, man, it's so hard for men, dude. Man, it's so fucking hard.
Can't do that. Just another asshole customer.
And I wish that I had.
Get over yourselves. Just, if you like a girl, either ask her out, or if you're too nervous to, which I completely understand that, Wait and see if she flirts with you. If you interact with a girl on any regular basis and she has any interest with you, she will flirt with you. Almost guaranteed. If she doesn't, you've pretty much got no shot. That's a pretty solid rule, okay? If you're a nervous guy, talk to women on a friendship basis, and if they flirt with you, you're probably in. If they don't, you're probably out.
Had a more concrete answer for you guys, because I know you ask me all the time, whether it's on a live stream.
And there's no such thing as the friend zone either. Can we get that out of the way? The friend zone is made up, all right? Women will be attracted to you sometimes, or they won't. If they're not attracted to you, they may still think you're a perfectly nice person and want to be friends, and that is completely fine. That does not mean they've mentally compartmentalized you into some box where they've decided you're no longer attractive, but otherwise, you would be. That's not a thing. That doesn't exist. That's not real, and it's made up. The natural way of progressing into a relationship is starting as friends. The only people who believe the friend zone exists are people whose entire conception of dating come from sitcoms like How I Met Your Mother, or like actual teenagers who are in high school or middle school.
Or my all access lives, whatever. But obviously every person
Also, the friend zone, like the pithy non-existence of the friend zone when met with the unyielding based power of the friends with benefits dynamic.
and every situation is different. So I feel like I usually just tell you something wishy-washy and hope for the best. But today, guys, I think I might have some better, a little more concrete insight for you. Before we dive in, though, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you've not already, and then ring that notification. It's weirder than actually meeting somebody online, which is totally the opposite of how it was 10 years ago. And to be fair, it's normal for a reason.
Okay. Whenever I point this out, her fans get super mad and say, yeah, we know it's a set. But I feel I still have to point it out. This is a Daily Wire set in the Daily Wire offices, not her bedroom or her living room in her house. It is made to look like that because she is supposed to give off this impression that she is a independent alt media creator who has no financial incentive to lie to you and not tell you the truth. But meanwhile, she is literally getting paychecks from Daily Wire to do this. And if you want to get an idea of what those paychecks are like and what they entail, look at the contract that they offered Steven Crowder that he rejected and then leaked online. Fuck Steven Crowder and all. I think even conservatives agree with that now. But, bro still leaked that contract. The one they gave Brett probably doesn't look too different.
Reason, because it is where the majority of people have met their significant others. I mean, just look at this graph from last year. How couples meet in the US. We have through friends, woo, work plummeting, through family plummeting, bar plummeting, grade school plummeting, neighbors plummeting, college plummeting. But online, it is shocking how...
Yes, and most people make their friends online now. Yeah. Uh-huh. Nobody makes their friends through family anymore. Because why would you? Outside of the 1950s and the 1960s. Notice how as you got the ability to speak with more people, the rate at which people make friends through, very, marginalized means drops. You could be friends with your neighbors, but that's a very small selection of people that you're just kind of forced into proximity with. You could make friends at college, but that's still relatively small, section of people, but you could make some good friends in college, sure. Grade school, same situation. A bar, that's an even worse place to make good friends. Work, even worse place to make good friends. Through family, arguably even worse. Through friends, I mean, sure, but the online, through online friends qualifies here. So people who are meeting their friends through online friends, most of my friends I have met through friends that I have, both online and offline. So yeah, I don't know. I'd say we're probably seeing a bunch of this stat traded for this stat, to be fair. My online friend group, I met through one online friend that I met online. So would I report that as I met them online, or would I report it as I met them through a friend? I'd probably report it as I met them online. So I think that has a big part to play in this massive swoop upwards. But not just that, but the fact that the internet puts you in touch with everybody. everybody. Let me just like give you the most vague layout of what my friend group on Discord is like. We've got a trans dude from the Philippines, a gamer bro from Texas, a gamer bro from like, I don't even know, somewhere in the Midwest, I guess. A gamer bro from Brazil, a gamer bro that is from America but currently doing school in Japan. Like, there is no distance separating that can separate our friendships. All my friends are people from like around the fucking planet, okay? And that is a luxury that being online is pretty much the exclusive way you can build that bond, besides like traveling abroad, I guess, or, you know, like outside of that, online is how you do that. The internet gives you such a large portion size or like sample size of people to act as friend candidates that you're going to end up opting for that to be the way that you make friends, because in any other format, these are circumstantial friendships. When you make friends with someone at school, how many of you guys still keep up with friends you made at school? How many of you still keep up with friends that you made like at any of these things, but still keep up with online friends you made like 5 years ago, 6 years ago? Me and Ethan have been friends for like 4 or 5 years now almost. Like, I've got friends online that I've been, like, me and Balth have been friends for as long as I've been doing YouTube. Me and my friend Mango, different Mango than who you're probably thinking of, me and him have been friends since, like, 2018. You know? Like, internet friends stick around. We've got maintained contact. We can message each other anytime. We, like, are actually friends. We choose to hang out with each other rather than being forced to hang out with each other because we met at a bar, have to work together, are forced together by family, live together, are stuck in the same dorm or school, or go to the same school together. These are not real friendships. These are people being forced together and like choosing who they least dislike. The internet has provided people an unprecedented ability to find their truest of true friendship matches.
How fast it has risen. And it's interesting, this graph did what other graphs have not in the past, because usually online is on the up and up, but bars are very, very close by. But what a lot of these researchers have failed to distinguish is that people might meet in person for the first time at a bar, but they failed to mention that they actually connected for the first time on an app. So if you're very, very clear about it, if you say, did you actually interact for the first time online or at a bar, you get this result, which is glaring. But it's really not shocking at all. But just because this is the reality of our culture right now does not mean that it is right or the best option, and it certainly does not mean that this is what people want. A tweet went viral last week when this girl asked,
how do you know what people want? Do you have any data that suggests that people are unhappy with online dating? Oddly enough, Zan, I met my current friend group through Grindr. That's wild.
Serious question. I am totally over dating apps. All I do is exercise, work at my job, work on creative projects, drink coffee, walk my dog, garden, read books.
Yes. The conservative data. Tweets.
And spend time with my girlfriends. Not a fan of bars. Not religious. How do I meet someone? And this got over 3 million impressions. There were hundreds and hundreds of comments and reposts and quote tweets. And the replies were actually very, very helpful and positive, which rarely happens on Twitter. So I was very happy to see this. And the common thread here was community. One guy said, find a community for your hobbies, i.e. a Brazilian jiu-jitsu gym.
True. Okay. She's not going to say, well, she might, maybe she injects some weird conservative politics into this, but she's probably not going to say anything, too objectionable here, because this is just objectively true. If you're trying to make IRL friends, you do it the same way you make online friends. You find a space that's likely to have people who have similar interests, okay? Don't just join a Brazilian jiu-jitsu gym because someone on Twitter told you to. Think of something that you really enjoy. Really enjoy. Something that you want to find other people that like it too, because simply having that in common is instantly a foundation for a good friendship. Go to places where those types of people gather. If your thing is anime, hell, just go to an anime convention. You will meet so many anime fans. You really will. And I don't know if you've noticed, but in this day and age, there are lots of hot women at anime conventions. That was not the case a long time ago, but now half the women at anime conventions are OnlyFans girls doing super lewd cosplay. So trust me, You're gonna be fine. No matter how niche or weird your interest is, it could be woodworking. You're gonna find some like muscular tomboy lady that like carves wooden chairs at like a woodworking class you can hit it off with, you know?
Gym or a gardening club. Be very forward to guys that you are interested in. Another man said, do hobbies in places where others are. Instead of gardening alone, do it in a public patch. Instead of doing creative projects in your home, go to an open art studio. Meeting people in these places will mean that you have something in common. And
So here's the thing though. All of this advice completely neglects the fact that so many people have social anxiety or are just nervous and don't want to bother people, right? You have to cut through the fear of starting a conversation. They call it breaking the ice for a reason, because like once you've broken the ice, it's a bit easy to get through, but you got to like break it. You've got to break that like hard, unbroken, uncracked shell. And it's a bit of a like you hit kind of a wall, and it's a little intimidating. Something that I do, and I have repeated this time and time again, and numerous chatters have told me it works for them. If you are someone who, like me, walks everywhere, I live in the city, so I don't need a car, nor do I want a car or a car insurance bill. I walk everywhere, and I'll walk to the dispensary, I'll walk to the store, anywhere I need to go, I'll walk, unless I have to like get an Uber for a really long distance. But I walk a lot, and as I'm walking, I pass a lot of random strangers in the street, people I've never seen before and will never see again. Some of them are maybe homeless and kind of have a little bit of a shady look to them. Some of them are just like a nice woman walking her dog. No matter what, I always smile and say good morning or good afternoon or good evening. And I do this for a variety of reasons, no matter who it is that I'm walking past or walking by. If it's somebody who looks a little shady, I'm letting them know I see them, I'm paying attention to them, and they've not snuck up on me. I'm not off my guard. It's a pretty important thing. It's probably the most effective way you can keep yourself from getting robbed, mugged, or attacked, is just not looking like an easy target by seeming like you're off in La La Land as you go throughout the world. And if it's like a nice lady walking her dog, I have to admit that I might look like the shady, weird guy that like she's worrying about, like thinking I might attack her. So smiling and saying good afternoon as I walk by, or good evening, or good morning, it's going to be a little disarming, you know, especially if I do it from like a 1.5 feet away or 2.5 feet away. I'm just like, hi, good afternoon. You know, just walk by, you know, brisk walk by. It is such a anxiety melting practice. I know it sounds dumb. I know it sounds stupid. I know it sounds simple, but I promise you, if you make this a habit, eventually you're going to start to realize that you are encountering so many different people per day that aren't even going to remember you after 2 minutes at the most. They won't be able to remember what your face looked like, what your voice sounded like, where you said hello to them. And yet you'll remember. You'll remember and they won't. And it is going to help to chip away at that social anxiety. And once you've made that a habit, and you no longer choke up before you say good afternoon to people as they walk by, and when you go into the store, you're like striking up conversation and not like stuttering when you talk to like the cashier or whatever. Once you've gotten to that point, that is when I truly believe that you have broken your social anxiety to the point where you can go to one of these places, strike up a conversation with someone, and have enough riz to make a friend, maybe make a potential partner, you know? I don't wave, but I kind of nod. I just do sort of a good afternoon. You know, good afternoon. That's literally what I do.
Plus, it's a double whammy because then you're actually learning something new or enjoying a hobby that you already love while simultaneously putting yourself out there. So that should hopefully make the whole process less exhausting and intimidating because you're still getting to do something fun that you would be doing in your spare time anyway. Because let's be real, 9 times out of 10, dating is not fun. It's basically like shopping for insurance, but you can make shopping for insurance fun.
What was that segue to the ad? At least the ad doesn't take up like a quarter of the video this time.
Out of dating. Now, similarly, but on another side of Twitter last week, somebody said people knocking on dating apps being too alien and not meeting people in a shared context, yet not prioritizing community. Building community is honestly how you're going to probably meet your next partner. There it is again. But somebody immediately replied and said, but that takes effort. Yeah, It does.
Get your up and work.
I'm sorry to break it
To be fair, there are a lot of people who are just outright lazy. Like, one of the things that the right actually does have a point kind of on is the fact that the left, in many areas, considers laziness a virtue. Do you know why I use the term laziness virtue? Why I use that phrasing? Because that famous interview with the r/anti-work Reddit mod, that's the quote from that Reddit mod, who famously said in that embarrassing interview, laziness is a virtue. So that statement has been like a tagline people have associated with the online left for a very long time, since that r/anti-work drama happened. Laziness is a virtue. And I'm going to be honest, I think a fair amount of lefties believe that. Do you think the lefties who are out there on the street screaming, enjoy Trump, we're not going to vote for Biden, do you think those people, like, care about anything? Or do you think maybe, potentially, they're just talking shit? They're just trying to be part of a group, be part of like a bandwagon. They don't care about anything. They're lazy. They want to advocate for like the LARP. They're lazy assholes. They're talking shit, and they don't care about anything. The only thing they care about is advocating for what they think is a political system in which they would never have to work anymore. Newsflash, you would not have to work under socialism or communism. The entire point of socialism and communism is actually the glorification of labor and laborers. It's all about the workers, those that do labor, the workers owning the means of their labor. If you are not someone willing to work, then you are not going to benefit from the fruits of socialism or communism. You'll be taken care of, you're not going to suffer on the street, but you're not exactly going to get by well, but maybe they don't want to get by well. I don't know. I don't know with these fucking people. They all pretend like they've actually read theory.
to you, but it will take effort. If you want to prioritize finding a partner, if you believe that that is important to you, if it is important to you, if you have stated that, you are going to have to put in effort in some way, shape, or form. You will put in effort working on yourself so that you deserve the kind of person that you think you want. You will have to put in effort to be in situations where you could possibly meet someone, whether it is going to a bar, whether it is joining a gym, whether it is creating a perfect dating app. That is all effort. And then once you meet somebody, you will put in effort to nurture and foster that relationship for the rest of your life. Forever. Being a human being is putting in effort. It is always going to be a challenge.
Oh God, is she saying that like once you find someone compatible, quote unquote, you have to work forever to make it work? Oh, is she already outing that like her first boyfriend that she's already like gotten engaged to, things are already not working out, and so she's kind of outing she has to work to make the relationship work? Oh, am I reading too deep into that, or did she just let slip more than she meant to? Self-report for sure. Feels like a self-report. This is a woman who's been in, like, at most 2 relationships outside of high school.
It's not easy. It's not a cakewalk. That's kind of the name of the game of both life and of relationships. But the good thing here is, it looks like Gen Z has started to really get this. An article from Notion that they published last week touched on this, saying what has to be adhered to is that Gen Z has never had it easy dating. They are the first generation to have internet connectivity from birth, being surrounded by frenzies of social media at every twist and turn of their lives. An online presence is a must if you want to stay up to date with your friends and family's lives, especially if you want to succeed in the dating world nowadays. What was once a taboo, meeting somebody online, is now par for the course. But change is brewing. The crying return for real-life connection and the abolition of casual dating culture, thank God, here we go, is coming to fruition, with 90% of Gen Z feeling frustrated with dating apps. Major apps like Hinge and Bumble are grappling with drastic stock plunges, whilst interest in in-person events like speed dating is on the rise.
So, I don't know if you've noticed it, but there is like a very bizarre schism in Gen Z right now between like, I like to call them total gooner death Zoomers. Does anybody know like what I'm referring to here? There is like a pretty large contingent of Zoomers who are very much like not big on anything sexual. But not necessarily the way I worded that. I worded that badly. It ranges from like borderline, you would question, are they asexual? All the way to the point of like they just don't have a very strong like for like the promotion of super overt sexual stuff, in the sense that like they get a little frustrated with sex scenes in movies and stuff because it's just kind of unneeded and usually weird and just shoehorned in, that kind of thing. And even I've noticed that sentiment becoming more and more popular, like especially I'm part of the group that doesn't like sex scenes. They can make sense sometimes. I rack my brain to think of examples of sex scenes that like make sense to include and then still have them be like very like graphic and not just have it cut. And I'd say the only example I can think of is Terminator 1. Because the sex scene in Terminator 1 is the conception of the Chosen One, who's like the main character of the franchise. And even then, you probably they could have chilled a bit, but like, that's the only thing I can think of as an example of like sex scenes being necessary. And then when people say, well, nothing in a movie needs to be necessary, it's like, well, no. I mean, most scenes and things included in a film or a movie or a show, generally, not always, are supposed to have a purpose, or it's like filler. So I think what people really have a problem with is sex scene filler that is just thrown in and feels shoehorned and almost like it's being used as like a way to retain like horny people's watch time. As if like, ah, man, do they think like men won't sit through a whole episode of this show if they don't show tits at least once per episode or something? It's just a very, it's a very, I get it. I get it on both ends of this discussion. And I also think that we're sort of in this state of things right now where the internet is convincing men that there are a variety of things you have to do to be a man without shame, if that makes sense. You need to have a decent physique. You need to make at least decent money. You need to have an at least decent looking girlfriend, by whatever metric they consider decent looking. You need to have, like, basically go down the list of things that, like, the red pillars glorify. And if you don't have these things, then you should feel shame. And all of these, like, branch off to other things, right? So, for example, a really good example I can give is the fact that a lot of men, most men, and you cannot change this. I do not see this changing at any point in the future. It seems like a futile thing to try. Most men will never be content with the prospect of being cucked or having their partner sleep with, or their girlfriend or wife sleep with another man, unless they have that fetish. Most dudes will never be content with that idea, far from content, nor will they be willing to look past it when others do it. Many, many men not just demonize, but fear the concept of cuckoldry. And it's used as an insult. It's used as like a fear, like, oh yeah, that evil chick's gonna cuck you. Whenever they talk about like how evil women are, the dangers of trusting a woman. And it's very clear that a lot of these guys see themselves as, they see it as a point of shame if they are not a woman's first choice. Does that make sense? So many guys in this day and age seem to be caught up in this mindset that they are not good enough if they were not a girl's first choice. If she had sex before she met you, God forbid if she cheats on you, especially. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's justified to break up with someone in that case, but lots of guys will see that as a point of shame for them for some reason. Because I guess they've just gotten taught this idea that if they aren't a woman's first choice, that is a point of shame. And a lot of these guys are starting to realize that they will likely never be a girl's first choice, because that's just not how the world works. The internet makes that more obvious than ever because, you know, maybe there's a girl you like and she posts like what relationship she's in. So like you know that you're not her first choice when you end up dating, right? So I know tons of guys who've been in that situation that bothers them. So it's like, I get that, but this isn't anything new. It's just a little exacerbated by the internet. There's always been cultural pushes and then cultural backswings. But it's always been a swing more for the progressive side, like making things more liberal, more progressive, more socially forward thinking. And then it's always 2 steps forward, 1 step back, you know? 2 steps in the progressive direction, 1 step back in the conservative direction, and onward, right? So, I don't know. I definitely think Gen Z is a little bit, crybaby about this stuff at certain points, but I also understand, especially when it comes to some Gen Z men, why a lot of them feel like they're kind of fucked in the dating world, but they're not. They're not. Like, so many of them, like, you'll ask them, why aren't you out, like, talking to women right now? They can't come up with an excuse because they could, but a lot of them, I'm going to be honest, they enjoy spending time in the community they found is a community built around a mutual self-pity for not being able to just have a 10 out of 10 supermodel, whatever they call it, fall out of the sky into their lap and start sucking their dick. It's just all about having a pity party is the community they've found. Those are the friends that these people have.